Hello, this is Old School from WhatTheBuck.net, coming to you live from our YouTube channel. I want to thank those of you who subscribe and listen to this little podcast. I appreciate it that you do. And hopefully if you like what's said here, you'll tune into our show at www.whatthebuck.net on Mondays and Thursday nights for our live shows. Recap, since last we spake, we did pull out the victory in Chicago over the Bears in overtime in thrilling fashion. I know that the Chicago fans were not happy at all with the outcome of that game, as can be expected. Right? It was a hard-fought game. The Bears came out, took a nice 10-point lead in the second half, and somehow the Bucs were able to kind of rally back behind Brian Griese's 67 throws and get the touchdown there at the end, and then come back in overtime and get the three-pointer to escape Soldier Field with the victory. I know there's a lot of noise made about Peanut Tillman's unnecessary roughness call. Clearly a little bit of chippy play there. Trueblood has come out and said that he's not a dirty player. I don't know that that's true or not true. I think line play is generally going to be fairly dirty, and football players should just stop whining like little girls and play football. Now, if there's really bad stuff going on, that's going to get all evened out, right? If you're a guy who's in there grabbing people's junk, karma's going to take care of that, and other players are going to take care of it. It'll self-regulate. I think the officials did a good job overall in a game that had a lot of high tension, high emotion. So, on to this week. But before we get into this week, actually, I want to make sure we send out condolences to Matt Bryant's family. For those of you who are Bucs fans, you know that Matt's young son, Matthew Trison, passed away in his sleep, 3 months old. A parent's worst nightmare. Even people who aren't parents can certainly understand that this is the worst nightmare you can have. Clearly the focus is on Matt getting things right at home and doing what he has to do with his family, and the team has seemingly stood behind that, telling him to take whatever time he needs, which is phenomenal. It's good to see a team doing that. Sadly, the NFL would appear, according to Pro Football Talk, to not be taking that position, saying there's no roster exemption to be granted for Matt for this issue. There's no bereavement policy in the NFL. And so the Bucs would essentially have to deactivate someone to make a spot for a kicker. Interestingly enough, if he were suspended, there would be a roster exemption. So the clear workaround would be to suspend Matt for no reason and then get around this. But the real kind of horse shit is that you have to do that. So hopefully we'll work through that and figure out what we want to do with regards to Sunday. But Matt needs to come back whenever he's ready to come back, and not because of some crap rule. Now, with the Packers coming into town Sunday, we're going to be tailgating over in Lot 14 with the folks from Bucs Chat. Buccarino puts on a hell of a show, and some of the things we're going to be looking for against the Packers. We got to get to Aaron Rodgers. The Dallas Cowboys beat the Packers 27-16. They put Aaron Rodgers on his backside 5 times. We've got to do the same thing. We've got to get pressure on Aaron Rodgers. He's a young guy. He's a smart quarterback with a strong arm. He's done a great job filling in for Brett Favre since Favre's departure. There's a lot of pressure, and he's risen to that challenge quite well. But it's very hard for any quarterback to throw from the flat of his back. So we need the guys who've been putting that pressure on: Greg White, Gaines Adams, Jimmy Wilkerson. These guys need to come and bring that kind of heat. The corner blitz with Rondé has been really strong. We haven't gotten so much activity from our mid blitzes, but I expect to see Kiffin throw a lot at the young guy to see if we can get some turnovers on the defense side of the ball. Ryan Grant is no slouch, folks. He hasn't been playing as well as he did last year. He's coming off of an injury, but we got to make sure we keep an eye on Ryan Grant. He put up, I think, 600-yard games last year. So the big focus is going to be on pass rush and stopping Ryan Grant as their key horse, because we don't want their receivers touching the ball. They've got an incredibly talented set of receivers. Everyone knows Donald Driver and Greg Jennings. There's another staff behind that. They're very deep at the receiving core, and they're all excellent at yards after catch. We've got to make sure that we limit that. If they do happen to make a catch, we've got to make them pay for the catch and not let them run roughshod over our secondary. On the offensive side of the ball, we've got to prove that we know how to run the ball again. We got shut down by the Chicago Bears defense, but I think it was Scott Reynolds from Pewter Report said that they blitzed some 50-something times, if I recall. It was sick how many times they were coming with extra pressure. Hey, that's the way it works. They dared us to pass the ball. We passed the ball. We got to win. We don't want to do that every week. We need to get Ernest Graham on track and hopefully gouge these guys. The Packers have given up 200-yard games in the first 3 this year. Let's make it 3 out of 4. So, with regards to predictions, our staff has predicted a couple of things. My prediction for the game is a 27-17 victory by the Bucs. I expect to see Mike Clayton have a big day. I think they're going to be paying a lot of attention to Antonio Bryant after his game in Chicago. With Al Harris out for them and Charles Woodson hurt, you're going to get, I think, Tramon Williams coming in for Al Harris. Their secondary is going to be suspect. They're going to probably roll coverage to Bryant. It should leave Mike open for some pretty good activity if Bryant can hook up with him early and often. That's the way we see it going down. So we'll see how things play out on Sunday. Again, if you're local and you want to hook up with us, we're going to be over in the corner of Lot 14 on Himes and MLK with the BucsChat.com crew. and would love to have a drink with you before the game. So tune in again. We'll be back Monday night, 7 o'clock, to talk about what went down. Thanks again.